Hello there ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video of Path of Exile, and today I want to discuss a few major and a few minor mistakes or flaws in the design of Path of Exile. I don't know if it's just me, but there are some difficult flaws in this game and I consider them fix-worthy and I want to discuss them with you guys. So maybe it's just me, but maybe you have the same opinion that I have. So without further ado, let's talk about a few major and a few minor flaws in Path of Exile thus far. Issue number 1. Items blend in with the background too much. This is just a minor flaw I discovered while playing Path of Exile, and maybe it's just me, but if you're new to the game you might not be aware that there's an always highlight option in the UI settings, and therefore it might happen that you overlook some items that are underground, and this becomes especially difficult if you view items such as rings or small objects. It is kind of difficult to distinguish what is there for decoration and what is there to pick up, and if you're in the middle of combat it is sometimes really difficult to press the Alt key to view all the items on the ground. But fortunately you can switch on the always highlight all the items setting on and therefore view all the items that are on the ground. I think that grinding gear games should turn this on by default and not make it an option to begin with. Issue number 2. Name things on the minimap. This is also just a minor flaw I discovered while playing the game, but again, as a newcomer it is kind of difficult to distinguish what these different colors are supposed to mean. So if you're not familiar with the blue color for waypoints, it is kind of difficult to know, okay, what is this for? What is this meaning for the minimap, and so on and so forth. It doesn't hurt to put a small waypoint sign or something like that on the minimap, or just write waypoint beneath the blue color or something like that, or to the next area, so that you can clearly distinguish what is a gateway to the next area and what is just an open door or something like that. It makes it easier and more accessible for newcomers. Issue number 3, and this is something for convenience, and I think it is a major flaw in my opinion. So when you right click on several items when selling, for example, you can't really put them in the selling box. It is really uncomfortable and really not convenient at all. You have to put all the items in the box yourself. That also applies for the stash, as well as non-existent auto stacking with all the different things you get for selling items, for example. This is really inconvenient at times, and I really think that grinding gear games should fix this as fast as possible, because it is really inconvenient and it would speed up the selling process or the putting items in your stash process as fast as possible. So much more convenient. I really mean, come on, this isn't really that difficult to program, at least I think so, so please make that happen as soon as possible. Speaking of the stash, this also applies for issue number 4, and this is also a really minor flaw I think, because it really just depends what you are used to. So the thing I want to talk about is the inventory space. It really reminds me of Diablo 2, and I think that the inventory space nowadays, considering we all or most of us come from Diablo 3 or games where stash isn't really a problem anymore, it is kind of inconvenient to say the least, because picking up items in Path of Exile is pretty much the same as in Diablo 3. You don't really want the white items or anything like that. You want the magic items, the yellow ones, and so on and so forth. But even if you only pick up these items, it really becomes difficult to pick up a lot of them, because it is really inconvenient to move them around your inventory, because they take up so much space, and sometimes you have your bottom row, well, not even full, or there's so much space left but you can't put anything in there, so you have to use a portal scroll, go back to the town, sell your stuff or put it in your stash and go back into combat or back to the combat zone. And I really think that's something that we don't really need again in 2012. It's just my opinion, but considering that other games made it in other certain ways, such as Diablo 3 for example, it isn't really needed in my opinion. It's like I already said, we have 2012 now, this is Diablo 2 style. It really slows down the game progression and the immersion as well, and we don't really need that in that game. The game is really good, and this is a flaw that is fixable really easily in my opinion. They should really consider another inventory size or another inventory style or anything like that. Issue number 5, and this is also something that I miss in this game and I really consider it important. It might be kind of biased because I come from games like Diablo, but I really think it would be a good addition to this game as well. So what I miss in this game is feedback from my character. You hardly have any feedback from him or her. When your character gets hit, he or she will scream, and that's kind of cool, but apart from that you don't have any feedback from your character whatsoever, and this is kind of, yeah, it kind of sucks in my opinion, because if you are in the heat of combat and you don't pay attention to your mana, for instance, you won't know that you ran out of mana whatsoever, and I really wish that your character would say I'm out of mana or something like that. Or it's really kind of biased because that's what Diablo basically does, but other action RPGs do that as well, and I really think that this would make the game more convenient, especially for newcomers, because you have to keep in mind that if the game comes out it will be free to play, and a lot of newcomers to action RPGs or to the whole series of Path of Exile will enter the game, and they will be kind of bummed out if they, well, die to something like that because they ran out of mana and they were not aware of that. So this is something that they should implement into the game as fast as possible as well, and this is something I actually consider a major flaw. So Grinding Gear Games, please work at it. Issue number 6, and this is something I also miss in the game, and maybe it's just me, but I really miss a force move key. You don't have any key that you can bind to your keyboard, for example, which makes the character move. Sometimes I also mentioned that in my build factory video of Diablo 3 for stutter stepping, something on the ground, for example, or any enemy gets in your way in action RPGs. It is really convenient for the player to have a button you can press which makes the character move, and move only, not attack, and you don't have that in Path of Exile, and that's basically it. There's nothing more to say concerning this topic. They really have to implement that as well in my opinion, and the faster they do that, the better. And last but not least, issue number 7, and this is also a pretty major one which I hope they will fix as fast as possible, and it is not being able to rebind your mouse keys, especially your middle mouse key. It is kind of dumb to put your attack or attacks on the middle mouse key to begin with, because for most people, and I don't know what kind of mouse you have, but for most people the middle mouse button is the button you press on your mouse scroller, and putting an attack there is extremely uncomfortable, especially if you consider that when scrolling in and out you will also zoom in and out in the game, and this makes it so uncomfortable. And there are a few ways around that with tools, or sometimes your mouse drivers have macro options as well. And I also rebinded my middle mouse key to another key on my mouse so that I don't have to deal with this bullshit, but I spent like 50 minutes on the menu screen and thinking I missed something. I considered it so natural that you rebind your middle mouse key to something else, and while I was looking up a solution for that, I stumbled upon several forum posts on the official Path of Exile forum, and a lot of people have this problem. Either they have the same problem that I have, or their middle mouse button is broken or something like that, and I really think that Grinding Games should fix this as fast as possible. Like I already said, I wasn't really the only one with that problem, and I also think they should fix this prior to the public stress test, because there will be a lot of people with the same problem, so let's hope they fix this ASAP. And that's all I got for you today. Thank you very much for watching, and now it's your turn. Have you played Path of Exile yet? I really want to know your opinion concerning this topic. Do you tend to disagree, or do you tend to agree concerning these issues? Maybe it's just me, but I really think that these issues need to be addressed. And maybe you also have other issues that were not addressed in this video, but should really be fixed as fast as possible as well. So leave your comments in the comment section below, I'm really looking forward to them. And if you liked this video, make sure to press the like button, and if you want to stay up to date for more content of this channel, make sure to press that subscribe button as well. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Take care, have a good one, and goodbye.